welcome back to my channel. So today on Shop Talk Sunday, we are going to be talking about the pros and cons about the Cricut machines and the Silhouette machines. I will be talking about my experience with the machines I bought. So I will be talking about the Cricut Explore 1, which was way back in the day when I bought mine. I think it was like 2016 or 2017. And I will be talking about or comparing it to my portraits because those are the machines I use. So just as a heads up, those are the two machines I will be comparing and contrasting against each other. And I'll just give you a straight up disclaimer. I don't know anything about the new Cricuts like the Air 2s or whatever, and I don't know anything about the Cameos. So this is just my experience with the actual machines I've actually gotten, and I'll show you them side by side. So if you're interested in Shop Talk series about the pros and cons and why I switched over from Cricut to Silhouette, then let's get right into it. Alright, so one of the pros and cons that you have to weigh in is the size available to you. Do you have a large office? Do you have a dedicated office? Do you have the space for it? And one of the things that really took a toll on my change from Cricut to Silhouette was the space that it was taking. My Cricut was so big that I had to actually put it on the floor so it can cut my stickers, and that was a pain because I had a studio apartment and I'm like, I don't have much space. And when I finally got the portrait, I was able to just pop it on my desk and it fit, and I had enough space for everything else that I needed. So one of the things you guys should really consider when buying these machines is the size that you want. I know Cricut has the Joy, which I believe it's a small tiny baby like cutter for like small projects. Of course, they have the Cricut machines. I think they're like Explore Airs 2, I believe. I'm not sure, don't quote me on it. And they also have like a heat press. Not sure what that does. I'm pretty sure it's just to put like vinyl on like fabric. And then so you can choose between those. However, I think like the main like sticker cutter would be the Explorers, and they're pretty big. Whereas when you look at the Silhouette website, they do have other models. They have the Portrait, which is what I have. They're very compact machines, and then they have the Cameos, which are I believe almost the same size as Cricut machines, but they're more of like a rectangle version, whilst the Cricuts have like more of an ovally kind of shape to them. And then I believe that they have a different machine. I think it's like a flatbed one. I'm not really sure, but just do your research on the sizes and the size of your home and space where you want to create these projects. So I'm gonna go ahead and flip you around so you guys can see the size comparison, because it's very drastic in my opinion, and it can really make or break your shop area. Like, do you have enough machines that as you grow you can keep adding these machines to it? Because for me, adding portraits was super easy because they fit in this little tray right here. And I don't know if you guys can tell, but my Cricut right there, it's bigger than, like, wider than my actual printer. So you really have to consider the sizes. So let me go ahead and put you side by side so you guys can see. Alright, so if we take a look right here, here is the Cricut Explore 1. Of course, these are one of the earlier models from 2016, 2017. I'm not sure. But as you guys can see, my portrait is a baby compared to this hunker right here. As you guys can see, this doesn't even hold up in my 4-tier cart, which is where I have 4 machines currently on. So if I were to upgrade this cart, or these machines just would not hold up in something like this. So I do say storage is priority to me, so sizing is a big factor in these machines, as you guys can see. Another thing that I want to point out is that these Silhouette machines can have their tops removed. So in order for these machines to really cut properly, you do have to, you know, shine bright lights at them, because these machines are pretty blind. It doesn't matter which one it is, they're pretty blind. And cut lines are pretty hard to see if they're not properly lit. So with the Silhouette portraits, you can remove the tops so they're not fully covered. However, with the Cricut Explorers, these are attached. So when you want to just open it, you have to press the button and it will be open. And as you guys can see, that takes up even more space. It just becomes bigger. Whereas that, you just take off the top and it stays the same size. So that is one of the things that you really consider, like side by side. This is the huge machine. Like it's pretty big. Also, if we go ahead over here on this particular machine, the cut settings are here on the side. You do get paper, vinyl, iron-on, light cardstock, fabric, poster board, and then of course if you want to choose a custom, you can. However, when it comes to silhouettes, all of that is done in your design studio space. You don't need to worry about marking the correct knob here. You don't have to worry about leaving it in custom to make sure you get your proper cut lines. That is all handled through the studio space. So if we look at the portraits, you guys can see that the buttons here on the side have nothing to do with cut lines. They have to do with the pause, the start, the motion of moving your mats up and down, and then the Bluetooth. So you don't have to worry about cut lines here. You do that all on your computer. Whereas here in the Cricut, like I said, you gotta turn this knob to just get the setting you want. And if you have it on custom, you know, that's the only way you can do it on your space over there. But yeah, this is like more of a true in-person kind of comparison. The portrait is like stops right here where this still gets a big widener and these tops gotta stay on. So yeah, this is the comparison that I have. And now let's talk about the other pros and cons about the machines and why I chose the silhouette. All right, now that you saw the sizes, let's talk about the design space. Now you guys, I think the reason why I just couldn't get along with the Cricut as well was because of the design space. Like I said, I tried from like 2016, 2017 to up until I started my shop, trying to work with the design space, and I just could not get with the program. I found it very glitchy, very slow, but also I didn't understand flattening stickers, welding stickers. It didn't make sense to me, attaching them. And then not only that, you could not, well, at the time, I could not figure out how to cut the sheets. Apparently there's a hack now on how to do that, but back then I had no clue of how to cut my sheets into individual sheets, and it was such a pain. If you didn't flatten something down, or if you didn't attach it or weld it together, the stickers would just not properly cut. Also, when you were transferring in designs, you had to choose between like 3 different, like, do you want it simple, do you want it complex, do you want to do something? And I'm just like, what? I mean, a lot of the time people say just do the complex so it could be easier to print and cut, but I'm just like, it still didn't make any sense to me. And at the time, no YouTube videos were available like they are kind of now to help me through that. So one of the things that really just like made me like, wow, I'm so happy I switched to silhouette was the design space. When I moved to a silhouette and I looked at that design space, it was like a breeze, you guys. You put your borders, you can control your cut lines, like nothing was together, there was no welding, there's no flattening, you know, you were all specific to working with lines, and you could do like simple cut lines, or you know, the ones where you can just choose which lines you want to cut and change the pressure, the force, the blade, everything. It was so easy and straightforward that I was just like, just that small switch made the world of difference to me. If I have anything for you guys to try out, is try both design spaces, the Cricut design space and the Silhouette Studio. They're both free. You do not need a machine to use it. You can print anything that you make on there, but if you mess around with some of the settings, you would quickly realize which design space you prefer, and that made me realize how much I prefer the Silhouette. And I don't think I would ever be able to go back into Cricut design space. I did not like it, not one bit. And then you always had to be worried about making sure that you always put, you know, make sure that all your projects are private, because apparently if you don't, someone, you know, that could probably find your projects online because you haven't private them, and it was just weird. I just could not get with the Cricut design space. Like I just couldn't. So studio all the way in the making, creating, and cut lines on how you can take full control of that. So I definitely recommend that. And then adding to that, the cut lines or like the reference marks that each machine or studio design would print out on your sticker paper. For Cricuts, they do this entire black border, which to me made it seem as such a waste of ink. Like the machine would only detect certain parts of those cut lines. It was, to me, it was just a waste of ink. Now the thing is, Cricut's reference all 4 areas of the cut line, whereas Silhouettes, they have like a square dot at top, 2 angles at each corner, and that is it. So there's not much of black ink wasted as well on your paper, and it doesn't take too long to register each line because it's not going into 4 individual areas, it's just going to 3. So that is one of the things I also did enjoy when switching over to a silhouette portrait, was the cut lines weren't ridiculous. I just don't understand the space available to you, because to me silhouettes let you maximize your real estate on your sticker paper, whereas the Cricut, you really have to find a hack for it, and you really have to stay within that border that's already kind of like a 1/4 inch off your paper. So that's something I just did not like. It was a waste of ink and a waste of sticker paper space. And then adding to that, I would say mattes. You guys, I don't know why, but every time I would get like a brand new Cricut mat, like the green ones, my paper would get stuck on it, that when I would, like, you know, pull off like a beautiful, like, you know, sticker sheet that I created, it would tear my entire page out. I had no clue why. Like, I was so angry with the mat that I was like, I can't stand it. Like, it was just so frustrating to have all that hard work just ripped and get stuck on the mat. So yeah, the mats were also not my cup of tea. I don't know, you just had to like make sure that you kind of made it untacky before you would even use your sticker paper, because it would just rip your sticker paper that you already paid so much money for. So yeah, mats were one thing that I was like, ooh, I can't deal with this. So I do prefer the silhouette mats as well. So really consider those options. Like I said, if you have one or the other, I'm not trying to offend anyone. It's just my preference and my experience with these machines. And the last and not least is pricing. Consider the pricing for your machines, because these machines are not cheap. Portraits run about $200. Cameos run about $299 or $259 if they're on sale or not. So just know that if you start compact with silhouette, you do start like at almost $199, and then they can go all the way to $300. So really take a consideration of price. And same goes for Cricut. I think Cricuts run like $259, $260, and they can go up from there depending on the size and what you're looking for. So I was lucky enough to do everything secondhand, and Amazon has been a great find for that as well. So if you can find these machines secondhand and not have to like splurge like right from the get-go, especially if you're just trying to test the waters, I do recommend looking into Facebook marketplaces, OfferUp, Amazon, because they do have some sales you guys can get, especially if you get like a whole bundle where you get like mats and blades and all that good stuff all in one. So do consider the pricing of each of these machines, as well as if the design spaces also need to be upgraded and you need to pay for that, because for Silhouette's design spaces, I know for like Silhouette Studios, you do have to upgrade, especially if you're getting more machines and you're getting more complex designs and importing like vectors and all this stuff. You do have to upgrade your studio space in order to access more of their settings and perks. As for the Cricut, I'm not too sure. I just stuck with the free version of it. I'm not sure if you can upgrade it, but yeah, consider the pricing of the studio space and of the machine, because it's not cheap. These machines are not cheap, and upgrading studios because you're growing can also become a factor in your budget. So that has been my tidbits on the pros and cons about Silhouettes and Cricuts. I ultimately recommend the Silhouette Studio and machines. I feel like there's tons of resources out there for you guys to look on YouTube, and I feel like it's easier, and there's a bigger community for them. But of course, it's always up to you. I did start off with a Cricut, but ultimately I fell in love with Silhouette. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for coming to my Shop Talk Sunday, and I hope to see you here next Sunday. And if you have a request that you guys want to see in this series, leave it down below in the comment section. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, you guys.